Are we gooch? Are we good? Are we good to go? Testing my microphone. I think we're good. All right. Well, hi. Welcome back. Oh no. Oh, I thought for a second that my main microphone wasn't working. But hi, we're back again, reading another Odyssey stream. This may or may not be the second to last Odyssey stream, but we're gonna read today. So that's fun. Oh, hello, Magby. How's it going? I should open the chat by now. Jeez. All right. Well, we're gonna start from book 20. But first we got to get our ocean ambience, or typical, what do you call it? Visual up for the stream. Let's see. Let me get this going here. Trying to get the quality setting going on here, because there's just finished dinner. So yeah, I'm doing good. A little tired, but that's to be expected. I kind of woke up late today because I woke up at 5 and then I stayed up for like a few minutes and then I went back to sleep and then I overslept. Sorry, I dropped on water. Went down the wrong pipe. Hate when that happens. Physically dying. Ugh. But yeah, otherwise I'm doing good. How's packing coming along? It's going pretty well. I mostly have the majority of my stuff, but mainly what's left is the bedding, the leftover clothing, with like other miscellaneous items like graduation outfit, the books I have right now on hand, and plus stuff that's in boxes, but they're just waiting to be packed into a car. Like, so clothes and, like, bathroom stuff, and like, again, other things, but mostly clothing. Because I have a lot. And, I donated some stuff today, so. You sure you want to finish the book? Yeah, I want to. I want to, guys. Or Mag, I really want to. Because I have free time right now. I would probably, if I can, maybe the limit, if I'm getting too tired by, like, I don't know, a little bit, I might only complete 2 books, but we'll see how long we got. Alright, oh, there goes my bookmark. Let me double check the page count for this, what we have left, so that I know. Let's see here. I'm pretty sure it's 24? Yeah, it looks like it's 24. So, you're yawning though. I know. I do that a lot though, even if I'm not, like, tired. Even though my body's like, eh. In a second. I'm in a low lighted room, so that doesn't help either. What was I looking at? Oh yeah, the page. We got about 50 pages to get through today. No, 60, sorry. It's 60. About 60. Yeah, my lamp is on. That's the problem. What I could do is put on the main light of the room. So, like, you know, the main light of my room, those are usually bright. So, hang on, actually, let me go do that. Yeah, I'm more awake if I have like a big old freaking light on, and not like low light because that makes me fucking sleepy. I think that's a normal reaction with human bodies. Okay, so book 20. Let me put on the thing as usual. Let's see here. What's a good one to put on? All right. Oh my god, this is loud. Let's turn that down just a tiny bit. Make it a little bit bearable. Let's turn on the window. There we are. Yay. So there we go. Right. Turn it down a little. Yeah, I'm figuring that out, how loud that is. Alright, is this good enough? Is this, like, a good volume? I don't know, whatever works with water. I mean... Alright, cool. That sounds great. Alright, we can move on to the... So last time we were on the last stream, we did... So, Telemachus and Odysseus, they came to get... They reunioned with themselves, and then then Odysseus was right there with his wife, like, being an old-ass man. And, he was right there with his wife, and his wife is so unsuspecting that he's back. And we're gonna find out how that ends in the book, because this is definitely different from what the Epic did with the musical. I'm really curious how they're gonna do this with the Odyssey. Reunited, thank you. How they're gonna do this with the Odyssey movie coming out. It might be, I'm pretty sure the new Odyssey film, not the Epic the musical one, but the one that's coming out, we just watched yesterday, is gonna be pretty accurate, or maybe at least, I don't know how accurate it's gonna be. That's why I wanted to read the book, so I can, read it in preparation, so I know. Alright, book 20, it says here, or book XX, it says, or chapter 20. I say chapter because this is the book, and I don't know why they say... I think it's because it's a collection of different books, and it's just all in chronological order, then. I believe that's why they're called books throughout the book. if that doesn't get your head in a twist, or wrap your head around that, but... yeah, but so... 20 is about Odysseus cannot sleep, Penelope's prayer to Diana, or Artemis in this case, the two signs from heaven, Eumaeus and Phileus arrive, the suitors dine. Again, they've been dining for the past 2 books, man. They've been doing this what the suitors have been doing. They've just been like, hey, we're gonna eat. We're gonna eat and dine, and we're going to take over the throne, Sigitus throws on an ox's foot at Odysseus. and Theoclymenus foretells disaster and leaves the house. Oh, dang. Odysseus slept in the cloister upon an undressed bullock's hide, on top of which he threw several skins of the sheep and the suitors had eaten, and Eurynome threw a cloak over him after he had laid himself down. There then Odysseus lay wakefully brooding upon the way which he should kill the suitors, and by the women who have been in habit of misconducting themselves with them left the house giggling and laughing with one another. This made Odysseus very angry, and he doubted whether to get up and kill every single one of them and then and there, or to let them sleep one more last time. Or let them sleep one more and last time with the suitors. His heart growled within him, and as a bitch with puppies growls, whoa, okay, they used the word the bitch word back then. I forgot. That's the mother dog. That's where the insult, is. I like how Odysseus is just, he has this built up anger inside him. He's just like, I want to kill these fuckers already. He doesn't constrain himself. Like, I feel bad for him. His heart growled within him, and as a bitch with puppies growls and shows her teeth when she sees a stranger, so did his heart growl with anger at the evil deeds that were being done. But he beat his breast and said, Heart, be still, yet worse than this to bear on the day when the terrible Cyclops ate your brave companions, and yet you bore it in silence until your cunning got you safe out of the cave, though you made it sure of being killed. Thus he chided with his heart, checked it into endurance, but he tossed about as one who turns a paunch full of blood and fat in front of a hot fire, doing it first on one side and then on the other, that he may get it cooked as soon as possible. Even so did he turn himself about from side to side, thinking all the time how single-handed he was. He should contrive to kill so large a body of men as the wicked suitors. But by and by Athena came down from heaven in the likeness of a woman and covered over his head, saying, My poor unhappy man, why do you lie awake in this way? This is your house, your wife is safe inside it, and so is your son, who is just such a young man as any father may be proud of. Goddess, answered Odysseus, all that you have said is true, but I am some doubt as to how I shall be able to kill these wicked suitors single-handed, seeing how a number of them are there always are. And there is this further difficulty which is still more considerable. Supposing that with Zeus's and your assistance, and I succeed in killing them, I must ask you to consider where I am to escape from their avengers when it's all over. For shame, replied Athena. Why would anyone else would trust a worse ally than myself, even though that ally were only a mortal and less wise than I am? I am not a goddess, and I have not protected you throughout all... Am I not a goddess, and have I not protected you throughout all your troubles? Tell you plainly that even though there were 50 bands of men surrounding us and eager to kill us, you should take all their sheep and cattle and drive them away with you. But do go to sleep. It's a very bad thing to lie awake all night, and you shall be out of your troubles before long. She's like, dude, stop worrying about it and go to sleep. I don't blame him, though. I mean, he's been through all these trials, and he's like, I don't know how I'm gonna deal with this, man. And then Athena's like, can you stop being so fucking depressed? You're fine, dude. You're good. Your family's alive. You're gonna do this for them. The plan's going well. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Odysseus has faced a Cyclops, god storms, crazy women, and plants and sirens. A bunch of men after his wife for nothing. Yeah. He's like, do I really have to do this? Yeah, man, I don't... This man is literally me for real. He's like, I'm gonna fucking kill these bastards. Like... As she spoke, she said sleep over his eyes, and then went back to Olympus, which is where all the gods live. I keep remembering that's where Olympus came from. Well, Odysseus was... or Ulysses in the Roman translation. I'm going to call him Odysseus. That's a better name. Shut up. Well, Odysseus was thus yielding himself to a very sleep slumber that eased the burden of his sorrows. His admirable wife awoke, and sitting up in her bed began to cry. When she had relieved herself by weeping, she prayed to Artemis, saying, Great goddess Artemis, daughter of Zeus, Drive an arrow into my heart and slay me, or let some whirlwind snatch me up and bear me through a path of darkness till it drops me to the mouths of overflowing Oceanus, as it did the daughters of Pandatrius. The daughters of Pandatrius lost their father and mother, for the gods killed them, and so they were left orphans. But Aphrodite took care of them, and fed them with cheese, honey, and sweet wine. Wine? Wine? Hera taught him, or Juno, Hera taught him to excel in all women in beauty of form and understanding. Artemis gave him an imposing presence, and Athena endowed them with every kind of accomplishment. But one day, when Aphrodite had gone up to Olympus to see Zeus about getting them married, for little does he know both what shall happen and will not happen, what not happen to everyone, the storm winds came and spirited them away to become handmaids to dread Erinyes. Even so I wish that the gods who live in heaven would hide from me from mortal sight, or that fair Artemis would strike me, or might strike me. For I would fain go beneath the sad earth, and if I might do so, still looking towards Odysseus only, and without having to yield myself to a worse man than he was. Besides, no matter how much people may grieve by day, they can put up with it as long as they can sleep at night. And for when the eyes are closed in slumber, people forget good and ill alike. Whereas my misery haunts me even in my dreams. This very night, Meta thought there was one lying by my side who was like Odysseus, as he was when he went away with his host. And I rejoiced, for I believed it was no dream, but the very truth itself. On this the day broke, but Odysseus heard the sound of her weeping, and it puzzled him, for it seemed as though she already knew him and was by his side. Then he gathered up the cloak and fleeces on which he had lain, and set them on a seat in the cloister. But he took the bullock's hideout into the open. He lifted up his hands to heaven and prayed, saying, "Father Zeus, since you have seen fit to me, bring over land and sea to my own home after all the afflictions you have laid upon me. Give me a sign out of the mouth. Give me a sign out of the mouth of someone or other of those who are waking within the house, and let me have another sign of some kind from outside." Thus he did pray. Zeus heard his prayer, and forthwith thundered high up among the clouds from the splendor of Olympus, and Odysseus was glad when he heard it. At the same time, within the house, a miller woman from Hard in the mill room lifted her voice and gave him another sign. There were 12 miller women whose business it was to grind wheat and barley, which are the staff of life. The others had ground their task, had gone to take the rest, but this one had not yet finished, for she was not so strong as they were. And when she heard the thunder, she stopped grinding and gave the sign to her master. "Father Zeus," said she, "you who rule over heaven and earth, you have thundered from a clear sky without so much as a cloud in it, and this means something for somebody. Grant the prayer, then, of me, your poor servant, who calls upon you, and let this be the very last day that the suitors dine in the house of Odysseus. They warned me out with the labor of grinding a meal for them, and I hope they may never have another dinner anywhere at all." Odysseus was glad when he heard the omens conveyed to him by the women's speech, and then by the thunder, for he knew they meant that he should avenge himself on the suitors. Then the other maids in the house rose and lit the fire on the hearth. Telemachus also rose and put on his clothes. He girded his sword about his shoulder, bound his sandals onto his comely feet, then took a doughty spear in the point of a sharpened bronze, and then he went to the threshold of the cloister and said to Euryclea, "Nurse, did you make the stranger comfortable both as regards bed and board, or did you let him shift for himself? For my mother, good woman though she is, has a way of paying great attention to the second-rate people, and neglecting of others who are in reality much better men." Let me make it. Okay. "Do not find fault, child," said Euryclea, "when there is no one to find fault with. The stranger sat and drank his wine as long as he liked. Your mother did ask him if he were to take any more bread, and he said he would not. When he wanted to go to bed, he told the servants to make one for him, but he said he was such a wretched outcast he would not sleep on a bed and under blankets. He insisted on having an undressed bullock's hide and some sheepskins to put for him in the cloister, and I threw a cloak over him myself. Then Telemachus went out of his court to the place where the Achaeans were meeting in assembly. He had a spear in his hand, and he was not alone, for his 2 dogs went with him. But Euryclea called the maids and said, Come, wake up, set about sweeping the cloisters and sprinkling them with water to lay the dust. Put the covers on the seats, wipe down the tables, some with you, with the wet sponge, clean out the mixing jugs and the cups, and go for the water from the fountain at once. Wow, the suitors will be here directly, and they'll be here early, for it is a feast day. Man, again? Dang. All they seem to do is just sit around. Yeah, the Greek names are better than the Romans ones. Yeah, the Roman ones are they just feel generic. Like Job is Zeus. It's an interesting thing how they name him. Put the seat down. Thus she did speak. Then they did even as she had said. 20 of them went to the fountain for water, and the others set themselves busily to work about the house. The men who were in the attendance on the suitors also came and began chopping firewood. By and by, the women returned from the fountain, and the swineherd came after them with the 3 best pigs he could pick out. These he let feed about the premises, and then he said good-humoredly to Odysseus, "Stranger, are the suitors treating you any better now, or are they insolent, or is he as insolent as ever?" That means he's giving a joke. Duh. I like how they say good humorously because it's a joke, because he's like, so, like, he's very it's like a snarky remark, like, so, are the suitors treating you better than they were, or are they being assholes still? I love how the humans never changed. Oh my god, but they just spoke different. Oh my goodness. These suitors are no better than the hogs they've killed a feast on. Yeah, I know, right? May heaven, answered Odysseus, requite to them the wickedness in which they deal high-handedly in other man's house without any sense of shame. Thus they did converse. Meanwhile, Melanthius, the goatherd, came up, and he too was bringing his best goats for the suitors' dinner, and he had 2 shepherds with him. They tied the goats up under the gatehouse, and when Melanthius began gibing at Odysseus, "Are you still here, stranger?" said he, "to pester people by begging about the house? Why can't you not go elsewhere?" Okay, so gibbing means like nagging him, like, dude, why the fuck are you still here? Get out. You and I shall not come to understanding before we even give each other a taste of your fists. You begged it without any sense of decency. Are there not feasts elsewhere among the Achaeans as well as here? Odysseus made no answer, but bowed his head and brooded. Then the third man, Philoctetes, joined them, who was bringing in a barren heftier and some goats. These are brought over by boatmen who are there to take people over when anyone comes to them. So Philoctetes, made his heifer and his goats secure under the gatehouse, and then went up to the swineherd. "Whose swineherd," said he, "is this stranger that is lately come here? Is he one of your men? What is his family? Where does he come from? Poor fellow, he looks like as if he had been some great man, but the gods give sorrow to whom they will, even to kings if it so pleases them." As he spoke up, he went up to Odysseus and saluted him with his right hand. "Good day to you, father stranger," said he. "You seem to be very poorly off now, but I hope you will have better times by and by. Father Zeus, of all gods, you are the most miraculous. We are your children, yet you show us no mercy in all of our misery and afflictions. A sweat came over me when I saw this man, and my eyes filled with tears, for he reminds me of Odysseus, who I fear is going about in as just as rags as this man's are, if indeed he is still among the living. If he is already dead and in the house of Hades, then alas, for my good master who made me his stockman when I was quite young among the the Cippellinians, and now his cattle are countless. No one could ever done better with them than I have, for they have bred like ears of corn. Nevertheless, I have to keep bringing them for others to eat, who take no heed to his son, though he is in the house, and fear not the wrath of heaven, but are already eager to divide Odysseus' property among them, because he has been away so long. I have often thought only it would not be right while his son is living, of going off with the cattle to some foreign country. Bad as this will be, it's still harder to say here it'll be ill-treated about other people's herds. My position is intolerable, and I should long since have run away and put myself under the protection of some other chief. Only that I believe my poor master will yet return, and send all those suitors flying out of the house. Okay, that's like the one long-winded version of saying, like, I really hope he's not dead, but if he is dead, alas, I can't have to deal with it. Stockman, answered Odysseus, you seem to be a very well-disposed person, and I can see that you're a man of sense. Therefore I will tell you, and will confirm my words with an oath. By Zeus, the chief of all gods, and by the hearth of Odysseus, to which I am now come, Odysseus shall return before you to leave this place, and if you are so minded, you shall see him killing the suitors, who are now the masters here. If Zeus were to bring this to pass, replied the stockman, you should see how I would do my very utmost to help him. And in like manner, Eurymaeus prayed that Odysseus might return home. Thus they did converse. Meanwhile, the suitors were hatching a plot to murder Telemachus. I heard he's on a diplomatic mission, and I heard today he comes back to town, so... It's time for that song that... let's see. It's to hatching a plot to murder Telemachus, but a bird flew near him on their left hand, an eagle with a dove in its talons. On this, Infinius said, my friends, this plot of ours to murder Telemachus will not succeed. Let us go to dinner instead. The others assented, so they went inside and laid their cloaks on the benches and seats. They sacrificed the sheep, goats, pigs, and the heifer, and when the inward meats were cooked, they served them around. They mixed the wine in the mixing bowls, and the swineherd gave every man his cup, while Philotius handed around the bread in the bread baskets, and Menethnius poured them out their wine. And then they laid their hands upon the good things that were out before them. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Telemachus purposely made Odysseus sit in the part of the cloister that was paved with stone. He gave him a shabby-looking seat, a little table to himself, and had his portion of the inward meats brought to him, and with his wine in a gold cup. Sit here, said he, and drink your wine among the great people. I will put a stop to the gibes and the blows of the suitors, for this is no public house, but it belongs to Odysseus, and has passed from him to me. Therefore, suitors, keep your hands and your tongues to yourselves, or there will be mischief. They're like, so he's like, shut the fuck up, otherwise there's gonna be price to pay. After you finish the reading book, we should have a stream where we listen to all the songs from Epic. Yeah, we should do that. That'd be fun to do. I just hope I don't get copyrighted. But, like... The suitors bit their lips and marveled at the boldness of his speech, and then Antonius said, oh, that fucking bastard. We do not like such language about it, but we'll put up with it, for Telemachus is threatening us in a good earnest. If Zeus had let us, we should have put a stop to his brave talk ere now. Thus spoke Antonius, but Telemachus heeded him not. Meanwhile the heralds were bringing the holy hecatomb through the city. The Achaeans gathered under the shady grove of Apollo. Then they roasted the outer meat, drew it off the spits, gave it to every man his portion, and feasted to their heart's content. Those who waited at the table gave Odysseus exactly the same portion as the others had, for Telemachus had told them to do so. Aww. Yeah, it says, hands and tongue, it says keep your hands and your tongues to yourselves. That's what it says in the book. I'm not... Oh my goodness. Let's see. Tentius. But Athena would not let the suitors for one moment drop their insolence, for she wanted Odysseus to become still more bitter against them. Now there happened to be among a ribald fellow, who was named Ctesippus, who came from Sam. This man, confident in his great wealth, was paying court to the wife of Odysseus, and said to the suitors, "Hear what I have to say. The stranger has already had as large a portion as anyone else. This is well, for it is not right nor reasonable to ill-treat any guest of Telemachus who comes here. I will, however, make him a present of my own account, and he may get something to give to the bathwoman or some other Odysseus' servants." As he spoke, he picked up a heftier's foot from the meat basket which it lay, and threw it at Odysseus, but Odysseus turned his head a little aside and avoided it, smiling grimly, starting to fashion as he did so, and it hit the wall, not him. On this Telemachus spoke fiercely to Ctesippus. "It's a good thing for you," said he, "that a stranger turned his head so that you missed him. If you had hit him, I should have run you through my spear, and your father would have had to see about getting you buried rather than married in his house. So let me have no more unseemly behavior from any of you, for I am grown up now to the knowledge of good and evil and understand what is going on. Instead of being the child that I have been heretofore," that's what it says in the book, "I have long seen you killing my sheep and making free with my corn and wine, and I have put up with this. One man is no match for many, but do me no further violence. Still, if you wish to kill me, kill me. I would far rather die than see such disgraceful scenes all day after day. Guests insulted, and men dragging the women servants about the house in an unseemly way." Jesus. Telemachus respectively is like, "Y'all, if you don't quit this, I'm gonna like jab this spear into your guys' gullet if I have to." But like the long-winded version. It's so it just catches me off guard how like even when they're mad at each other, they go on these long like freaking sentences, like very like, "I have like, why are you doing this?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, "My good sir, can you please stop?" You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't get their fucking anger get handed to them. They're just kind of just staying, even though they just hold back their emotions real well for some reason. I guess it's a Greek thing, but also maybe it's the society. Rose, hello. We might be finishing the Odyssey today or not. We'll see how it goes. How's it going? How's everything going with you? It's good to see you again. Oh, it didn't?
It's probably gonna need another 15 minutes in the oven.
You want to put it in there?
What temperature is it? 400?
350. Yeah.
Alright,
Sorry about that. My roommate came in. I just cooked brownies and and they didn't cook in the middle, so I have to put them. I had to put them back in there. But my friend's taking care of it, or a roommate. So, how is everything going, Rose? We just chillin' so far. We're seeing if we can make it to the end of the Odyssey, which is not far from what we got right now. Okay, where was I? Excuse me. Ugh. I'm doing good. I'm doing good, Rose. It's good to. I'm graduating in like the day after tomorrow. So that's gonna be fun. Not for my anxiety, but but being done with school. I mean, sign me up for that. So now we're reading chapter 20 in the Odyssey right now, where basically Odysseus is still trying to get to the suitors and like trying to plot to kill them. That's where we're at right now. They all held their peace till the last Angelus, son of Damastor, said, "No one should take offense at what had just been said, nor gainsay it, and for it is quite reasonable. Leave off, therefore, ill-treating the stranger for any of the else of the servants who are about the house. I would say, however, a friendly word to Telemachus and his mother, which I trust to say may commend itself to both. As long as I would say, as you had ground for hoping that Odysseus would one day come home, no one could complain about your waiting and suffering the suitors to be in your house. It would have been better that he should have returned, but it is now sufficiently clear that he will never do so. Therefore talk all this quietly over your mother, and tell her to marry the best man and the one who makes her the most advantageous offer. Thus you will yourself be able to manage your own inheritance and to eat and drink in peace, while your mother will look after some other man's house, not yours." To this Telemachus answered, "By Zeus and Aegelus, and by the sorrows of my unhappy father, who has either perished far from Ithaca or is wandering in some distant land, I throw no obstacles in the way of my mother's marriage. On the contrary, I urge her to choose whomever she will, and I will give her numberless gifts to the numberless. That's what it's. It's not numerous. It's like something else. Gives to the bargain, but I do not dare to not assist point blank that she shall leave the house against her own wishes. Heaven forbid that I should do this." Athena, who now made the suitors fall into laughing immoderately to set their wits wandering. But they were laughing with a forced laughter. Their meat became smeared with blood, their eyes filled with tears, and their hearts were heavy with forebodings. Theoclamus then saw this and said, "Unhappy men, what is that ails you? Is there a shroud of darkness drawn over you from head to foot? Your cheeks are wet with tears, your air is alive with wailing voices, the walls with roof beams drip blood, the gate of the cloisters and the court beyond them are full of ghosts trooping down to the night of hell. The sun is blotted out of heaven, and a blighting gloom is all over the land." Thus he did speak, and all of them laughed heartedly. Eurymachus said, "This stranger who has lately come here has lost his senses. Servants, turn him out into the streets, since he finds it so dark here." But Theoclamus said, "Eurymachus, you do not need to send anyone with me. I have eyes, ears, and a pair of feet of my own, to say nothing of an understanding mind. I will take these out of the house with me, for I see mischief overhanging you, from which not one of you men who are insulting people and plotting ill deeds in the house of Odysseus will be able to escape." He left the house as he spoke, and he went back to Piraeus, who gave him welcome. But the suitors kept looking at one another and provoking Telemachus by laughing at the strangers. One insolent fellow said to him, "Telemachus, you are not happy in your guests. First you have this importunate tramp who comes begging bread and wine and has no skill for work or for hard fighting, but is perfectly useless. And now there is another fellow who is setting himself up as a prophet. Let me persuade you, for it will be much better to put them on board a ship and send them off to the Cetals to sell them what they will bring." Telemachus gave him no heed, but sate silently watching his father, expecting every moment that he would begin his attack upon the suitors. He's like, "Father, please get me. Please get these guys already." And Odysseus is like, "I want to, son, but I can't." Meanwhile, the daughter of Icarus, wise Penelope, had there's two hads in here, had a rich seat placed for her face in the court and cloisters so that she could hear everything what everyone was saying. The dinner indeed had been prepared amid such merriment, but it had been good and abundant, for they had sacrificed many victims, but the supper was yet to come, and nothing could be and nothing can be conceived more gruesome than the meal which a goddess and a brave man were soon to lay before them, for they had brought their doom upon themselves. That's a hard line to finish a freaking what? And yeah, she's already married to the best man who was already there. Dang. That's crazy. That's a cool line, though. That's awesome. But your comment, Magby, about how Odysseus handles these. Soph is here. Hi. We were just reading. You just missed a really cool line. We just finished book 20 or chapter 20. I have water. Don't worry, Soph. I mean, Mag. I'm sorry. We're hoping, so to update on you, Soph, or on this, we're reading the rest of the Odyssey. We're hoping to get to the end, because there's not a lot of pages left. We just about to start book 21, or chapter 21. You didn't really miss a whole lot. The suitors are keeping eating. Penelope's just crying. Odysseus is just like, I want to kill these fuckers already. I want to kill these suitors already. But he's holding back his anger. They're trying to prep up like a slow burn like attack on these guys. It's not a whole lot going on. I mean, so we just started like with one book. Alright, book 21. The Trial of the Axes, during which Odysseus reveals himself to Eurymaeus and this is where the 12 axes come in, and they're like, oh no, it's Odysseus! Oh, it's Old King! And Mag had the idea to maybe do a stream where we listen to Epic the Musical and like point out like everything that we've read about, you know? Cannot wait for him to destroy it. That's why I wanted to read the book today. I'm like, I want to see him destroy the suitors already. So alright, let's see what book 21. Enough yapping. We gotta get to the rest of this. Okay, how many pages we got left, though, in terms of to like, I know there's like notes at the end, but we're not gonna read those. That's like an index. So we need to get to page 762, and we're at 714. So we got 48 pages left to go. And where's the... Alright. Athena now put it in Penelope's mind to make the suitors try their skill with the bow and with the iron axes, and contest among themselves as a means of bringing about their destruction. She went upstairs and got the storeroom key, which was made of bronze and had a handle of ivory. She then went with her maidens to the storeroom at the end of the house, where her husband's treasures of gold, bronze, and wrought iron were kept, and where was also his bow and the quiver full of deadly arrows that had been given to him by a friend who he had met in Lacedaemon, Iphis, the son of Eurytus. The two fell in with one another in menacing at the house of Ortelius, where Odysseus was staying in order to recover a debt that was owing from the whole people. For the Mysians had carried off 300 sheep from Ithaca and had sailed away with them with their shepherds. And in quest of these, Odysseus took a long journey while still quite young, for his father and other Chiefians sent him on a mission to recover them. So he's just like this, he's just a baby. Guys, he's just a baby. He put him off to this. Phidias had gone there and also tried to get back to 12 brood mares that he had lost, and the mule foals that were running with them. These mares were the death of him, and in the end, for when he went to the house of Zeus's son, the mighty Hercules, Hercules mentioned, who performed such prodigies of valor, Hercules, to his shame, killed him, though he was his guest, for he feared not heaven's vengeance, nor yet respected his own table, which he had set before Iphias, but killed him in spite of everything, and kept the mares himself. It was when claiming these that Iphias met Odysseus, and gave him the bow which mighty Eurytus had been used to carry, and which, on his death, had been left by him to his son. Odysseus gave him in return a sword and spear, and this was the beginning of a fast friendship. We were just talking about it yesterday, about friendships. Although they never visited at one each other's houses, for Zeus's son Hercules killed Icarus before they could do so. This bow, then given him by Iphitus, had not been taken with him by Odysseus when he sailed for Troy. He had used it for so long that he had been at home, but had left it behind as having been a keepsake from a valued friend. Aww. He's like, I don't want to use this. This is from a friend, bro. Like, he doesn't he doesn't want to tarnish it. What a noble man he is. Penelope presently reached the oak threshold of the storeroom. The carpenter had planned this duly, and had drawn a line on it to get it quite straight. He had then set the door posts into it and hung the doors. She loosened the strap from the handle of the door, put in the key, and drove it straight home to shoot back the bolts that held the doors. These flew open with a noise like a bull bellowing in a meadow. And Penelope stepped upon the raised platform, where the chest stood in which the fair linen and clothes were laid by long and with fragrant herbs. Reaching thence, she took down the bow with its bow case from the peg on which it hung. She sat down on her knees, weeping bitterly as she took the bow out of its case, and when her tears had relieved her, she went to the cloister where the suitors were, carrying the bow in the quiver, and with many deadly arrows that were inside it. I like how they say it's deadly arrows. I mean, they are. I mean, you kill them with people with it. Along with her came with her maidens, bearing a chest that contained much iron and bronze which her husband had won as prizes. When she reached the suitors, she stood by one of the bearing posts supporting the roof of the cloister, holding a veil before her face, and with a maid on either side of her. Then she said, "Listen to me, you suitors, who persist in abusing the hospitality of this house because its owner has long been absent, and without other pretext than you want to marry me. This, then, being the prize you are contending for, I will bring out the mighty bow of Odysseus, and whomever you shall string it most easily send this arrow through each one of the 12 axes. Him will I follow and quit this house of my lawful husband, so goodly and so bounding in wealth. Then even I so doubt not that I shall remember in my dreams." Oh my god, what a speech. The only arrows that aren't deadly are foam ones, yeah, like fake ones. And she spoke, she told Eurymaeus to set the bow in pieces of iron before the suitors, and Eurymaeus wept as he took them to do as she had bidden him. Hard by the stockman wept also when he saw his master's bow, but Antinous scolded them. "You country louts," this asshole, said he, "silly simpletons, why should you add to the sorrows of your mistress by crying this way? She has enough to grieve over in the loss of her husband. Sit still, therefore, and eat your dinners in silence, or go outside if you want to cry and leave the bow behind you. We suitors shall have to contend for it with the might and main, for we shall find it no light matter to string such as a bow as this. There is not a man of us all who is such other as Odysseus. For I had seen him and remember him, though I was then only a child." This was what he said, but all the time that he was expecting to be able to string the bow and shoot through the iron whereas in fact he was to be the first and should taste the arrows from the hands of Odysseus, whom he was dishonoring in his own house, egging the others on to do so also. It's just the grammar back then. The ancient Greeks had the most creative and devastating. They really did. The Greeks really did have the most. Very noble too. They like talked in these respectful, like long paragraphs. They just wanted to get their feelings out, but like they didn't. It's not like today where like people are like fuck you, fuck you. It's like, my dear good friends, my dear sir, how absurdly do you say that? You know what I'm saying? Isn't this the house of Odyssey? Like, then Telemachus spoke. Great heavens, he exclaimed. Zeus must have robbed me of my senses. See, we were just talking about. Here is my dear and excellent mother saying she will quit this house and marry again, yet I'm laughing and enjoying myself as though there were nothing happening. But suitors, as the contest had been agreed upon, let it go forward. It is for a woman whose peer is not to be found in Pylos, Argos, or Messene, nor yet in Ithaca, nor on the mainland. You know this as well as I do. What need have I to speak in praise of my mother? Come on then, make no excuses for delay, but let's see whether you can string the bow or no. I too will make trial of it, for if I can string and shoot it through the iron, I shall not suffer my mother to quit this house with a stranger. Not if I can win the prizes which my father won before me. Jeez. He's like, stop delaying it, dude, and just get on with it. Stop stalling. They really do spell it out for them. Yeah, they really do. They're very... What's the word for that? Direct, I guess. You know, as he spoke, he sprang from his seat, drew his crimson cloak from him, and took his sword from his shoulder. First he set the axes in a row, in a long groove which he had dug for them, and had made straight by a line. Then he stamped the earth tight around them, so that everyone was surprised when they saw him set up so orderly, though he had never seen anything of the kind before. This done, he went on to the pavement to make trial of the bow. Thrice he did tug at it, trying all his might to draw the string, and thrice he had to leave off. Though he had hoped to string the bow and shoot through the iron, he was trying for the fourth time, and would have strung it had not Odysseus made a sign to check him in spite of all of his eagerness. So he said, Alas, I shall either be always feeble or of no prowess, or I am too young, and I have not yet reached my full strength, so I will be able to hold my own if anyone attacks me. You others, therefore, who are stronger than I, make trial of the bow and get this contest settled. On this he put the bow down, and leaning it against the door that led to the house, in brackets, with the arrow and standing against the top of the bow. Then he sat down on a seat from which he had risen, and Antinous said, Come on, each of you in his turn, turning towards the right from the place to which the cupbearer begins and when he is handling around the wine. That's really interesting. In the musical, they didn't let Telemachus isn't really portrayed as like this big old guy, you know, this rebel. I mean, he kind of is like, I want to go on adventure, but like he's not like. Some part of him is not shown in the musical where he's just like this, like, I'm tired of this, I'm tired of this, let me show you how it's done. Oh, crud, oh, dang it. They knew how to insult you and make fun of you while still keeping respectful. Yeah, I know, it's really weird to think that's how people were back then. And it's not firing all shots like that, you know, like on the fly. It's just like they want to... They don't want to resort to violence. They want to be... It's interesting how that works. Or how that happened. Let me make sure this is on loop. For the stream's sake. But yeah, the thing about Telemachus, it's really interesting how the between the book and then between like the original text and and what they did with the musical, it's really fascinating once you read the original text and you're like, oh, that's... And you kind of see the differences where, like, Jorge worked around it. It's kind of fascinating. I know people like would be disappointed, but I just find it like, huh, cool. It actually makes sense of where he worked around it to, make it work in musical form, if that makes any sense. So the rest agreed, and Leotes, son of Enops, was the first to rise. He was sacrificial priest to the suitors and sat in the corner near the mixing bowl. He was the only man who hated their evil deeds and was indignant with the others. He was now the first to take the bow and arrow, and so he went on to the pavement to make his trial. But he could not string the bow, for his friends were weak and unused the hard work, and therefore soon grew tired, and he said to the suitors, "My friends, I cannot string it. Let another have it. This bow shall take the life and soul out of him, any a chief among us. For it is better to die than to live, and after having the missed prize that we have For it is better to die than to live after having missed the prize that we have so long striven for, and which has brought us so long together. Some of us is even now hoping and praying that he may marry Penelope, but when he has seen this bow and tried it, let him woo and take bridal offerings to some other woman, and let Penelope marry whoever makes her the best offer and whose lot it is to win her." On this, he put the bow down, letting it lean against the door with the arrow standing against the tip of the bow. Then he took his seat again on the seat from which he had risen, and Antonius rebuked him, saying, "Leotes, what are you talking about? Your words are monstrous and intolerable. It makes me angry to listen to you. Shall then this bow take the life of many a chief among us, merely because you cannot bend it yourself? True, you were not born to be an archer, but there were others who will soon string it. Whoever can string the old king's bow and shoot through 12 axes cleanly, who'll be the new king, sit down at the throne, Penelope as his queen." Screw this competition. We've been here for hours. None of us can string this. We don't have the power. Okay. Then he said to Melanthius and the goatherd, "Look sharp, light a fire in the court, and set a seat hard by with a sheep skin on it. Bring us also a large bowl of lard from what they have in the house. Let us warm the bow and grease it. We'll then make trial of it again and bring the contest to an end." Melanthius lit the fire and set a seat covered with sheepskins beside it. He also brought a great bowl of lard from what they had in the house, and the suitors warmed the bow and again made trial of it. But they were none of them nearly strong enough to string it. Nevertheless, there still remained Antonius and Eurymachus, who were the ringleaders among the suitors and much the foremost among them all. Then the swineherd and the stockman left the cloisters together, and Odysseus followed them. When they had got outside the gates in the outer yard, Odysseus said to them quietly, "Stockman and you swineherd, I have something in my mind which I am in doubt whether to say or no, but I think I will say it. What manner of men would you be to stand by Odysseus if some god should bring him back here all of a sudden? Say which you are disposed to do, to side with the suitors or with Odysseus." "Father Zeus," answered the stockman, "would indeed that you might so ordain it. If some god were to bring Odysseus back, you should see with what might and main I would fight for him." In like words, Eurymaeus prayed to all the gods that Odysseus might return. When therefore he saw for certain what mind they were of, Odysseus said, "It is I, Odysseus, who am here. I have suffered much, but at last, in the 20th year, I have come back to my own country. I find that you two alone of all of my servants are glad that I should do so, for I had not heard any of the others praying for my return. To you two, therefore, I will unfold the truth as it shall be. If heaven shall deliver the suitors to my hands, I will find wives for both of you, and will give you house and holding close to my own. And you shall be me as though you were brothers and friends of Telemachus. I will now give you convincing proofs that you may know me and be assured. See, here's this scar from the boar's tooth that ripped me when I was out hunting on Mount Purnius with the sons of Autoclonius." As he spoke, he drew his rags aside from the great scar, and when they examined it, he revealed it! Yay! examined it thoroughly. Both of them wept about Odysseus, threw their arms around him, and kissed his head and shoulders, while Odysseus kissed their hands and faces in return. Greeks, am I right? The sun would have gone down upon their mourning if Odysseus had not checked them and said, "Cease your weeping, lest someone should go outside and see us, and tell those who are within. When you go and do so separately, not both together. I will go first, and you do follow afterwards. Let this moreover be the token between us. The suitors will all of them try to prevent me from getting hold of the bow and quiver. Do you, therefore, Eurymaeus, place it in my hands when you are carrying it about, and tell the women to close the doors of their apartment. If they hear any groaning or an uproar of men fighting about the house, they must not come out. They must keep quiet and stay where they are at their work. And I charge you, Philotes, to make fast the doors of the outer court and to bind them securely at once." When he had thus spoken, he went back into the house and took the seat that he had left. Presently his two servants followed him inside. Oh man, gotta respect the love of I know! Oh my god, can you imagine if you haven't seen, like, the king or, like, a really great friend of yours for 20 years and then suddenly he's back? I would cry too! I mean, who fucking wouldn't? Like, the person that you definitely devote yourself to for many years. This is what we've been talking about. Friendship of, like, love, guys. Like, this is what is so cute. It's so, like, can you imagine? Like, I would cry. I would be weeping. I don't blame him. I like how Odysseus just instantly is like, "Guys, stop crying. We can do this later. We gotta figure this shit out first." At this moment, the bow was in the hands of Eurymachus, who was warming it by the fire, but even so he could not string it, and he was greatly grieved. He heaved a deep sigh and said, "I grieve for myself and for us all. I grieve that I shall have to forego the marriage, but I do not care nearly so much about this, for there are plenty other women in Ithaca and elsewhere. What I feel most is the fact that our being so inferior to Odysseus in strength that we cannot string this bow. This will disgrace us in the eyes of those who are yet unborn." "It shall not be so, Eurymachus," said Antinous, "and you know it yourself. Today is the feast of Apollo throughout the land. Who can string a bow on such a day as this? Put it on one side. As for the axes, they can stay wherever they are, for no one is likely to come to the house and take them away. Let the cupbearer go around with his cups, that we make our drink offerings and drop this batter of the bow. We will tell Menelaus to bring us in some goats tomorrow. The best he has, we can then offer thigh bones to Apollo, the mighty archer, and then again make... Apollo's an archer? Did I miss that? I'm not really knowledgeable in Greek mythology, because I never really got into that. Because again, I never grew up in a household that liked fantasy stuff. So I never really saw, even though my dad's very, like, prideful of his Greek inheritance, he never really showed me Greek mythology as much. But that's cool, though. That's really cool, actually. Mighty archer. Then again, make trial of the bow, so as to bring the contest to an end. The rest approved his words, and thereon men servants poured water over the hands of the guests, while pages filled the mixing bowls with wine, and water handed around after giving every man his drink offering. Then when they had made their offerings and had drunk each as much as he desired, Odysseus craftily said, "Suitors of the Instrulious queen, listen that I may speak, even though as I'm minded. I appeal more especially to Eurymachus and then to Antinous, who had just spoken to so much reason. Cease shooting for the present and leave the matter to the gods, but in the morning let heaven give victory to whom it will. For the moment, however, give me the bow, and I may prove the power of my hands among you all, and see whether I still have much strength as I used to have, or whether travel and neglect have made an end of it. Oh shit, here comes the part where he's like, let me try it. Let me try it. You're okay, Rose. You're fine. You didn't miss a whole lot. We're just it's building up to the point where like Odysseus is going to they're going to he's going to reveal himself to the suitors. That's kind of where we're going at, I think. Okay, Apollo and Artemis are okay, that's interesting. I didn't know they were archers. Okay, where was I? Okay, this made him all very angry. That makes sense. And Apollo is not the god of the sun, though he's been associated with it immediately. Yeah, Apollo is the god of music, right? Helos is the god of the sun. The god of the sun. But yeah, Helos is... That's what I know, because Helos has been a name for... that I do know. Artemis is the goddess of the hunt. Okay. That's interesting. So... Yeah, Apollo's the music man! But yeah... But yeah, Odysseus is like, I want to try it, and then Tinius is like, what is he gonna do? Like, they're like angry and like kind of snarky, like, why have we met this old man? Like, this made them all very angry, for they feared he might string the bow. Antinius therefore rebuked him fiercely, saying, wretched creature, can we kill this guy already, this Antinius dude? I want to kill him already. Wretched creature, you have not so much as a grain of sense in your whole body. You ought to think for yourself, lucky in being allowed to dine unharmed among your betters, without having any smaller portions served to you than others we had, and being allowed to hear our conversation. No other beggar or stranger has been allowed to hear what we say among ourselves. The wine must have been doing you a mischief, as it does with all who drink it immoderately. It was wine that inflamed the centaur Euryton, who was, when he was staying with the Peritus among the Lapithae, when the wine had got into his head, he went mad and did little deeds about the house of Pirithous. This angered the heroes who were there assembled, so they rushed at him and cut off his ears and nostrils. Fuck, dude. Ears in his nostrils, that's not great. Then they dragged him through the doorway of the house. He went away crazed and bore the burden of his crime, then bare fit of understanding. Henceforth, therefore, there was this war between mankind and the centaurs, but he brought it upon himself through his own drunkenness. In like manner, I can tell you that it will go hardly with you if you string the bow. You will find no mercy from anyone here, and we all shall at once ship you off to King Iddicus, who kills everyone that comes near him. You will never get away alive, so drink and keep quiet without getting into a quarrel with men younger than yourself. Fuck. Damn. This man. I didn't know. Yeah, is it? Yeah, because I think the gods, like, there's like. The gods like different people, right? If I remember. One second. Sending a picture to a friend. Alright. And Penelope then spoke to him. Antinius, said she, it is not right that he shall ill-treat any guest of Telemachus who comes to this house. If the stranger should prove strong enough to string the mighty bow of Odysseus, can you suppose that he would take me home with him and make me his wife? Even the man himself had so much Even the man himself can have no such idea in his mind. None of you need to let that disturb his feasting. It would be all out of reason. Queen Penelope, answered Eurymachus, we do not suppose that this man will take you away with him. It is impossible, but we are afraid lest as some of baser sort, men or women among the Achaeans who should go gossiping about and say, these suitors are feeble folk, and they are paying court to the wife of a brave man whose bow not one of them was able to string, and yet a beggarly tramp who had come to the house strung it at once and sent an arrow through the iron. This is what will be said, and it will be a scandal against us. Eurymachus, Penelope answered, people who persist in eating up the estate of a great chieftain and dishonoring his house must not expect others to think well of him. Why then should you mind if men talk to you as you think they will? This stranger is strong and well built. He says, moreover, that he is of noble birth. Give him the bow and let us see whether he can string it or no. I say it shall surely be that if Apollo vouchsafes him in the glory of stringing it, it will give him a cloak and a shirt of good wear with a javelin to keep dogs and robbers and a sharp sword. I will also give him sandals and we'll see him sent safely wherever he wants to go. Then Telemachus said, Mother, I am the only man either in Ithaca or in the islands that are over against Ilius who has the right to let anyone have the bow or to refuse it. No one shall force me or one way or the other, not even though I choose to make the stranger a present of the bow outright, and let him take it away with him. Go then within the house and busy yourself with your daily duties, your loom, your distaff, and the ordering of your servants. This bow is a man's matter, and mine above all others. It is I who am master here. She went wandering back into the house and laid her sons sang in her heart. Then going upstairs and with her handmaids into her room, she mourned her dear husband till Athena sent sweet sleep over her eyelids. I just love how Athena's just kind of just chilling around. She's just like, okay, go to sleep. Okay, let's do this. Baby body boo. Bing! Like, let's do this. Bing, bing. She's just kind of lurking there. The swineherd now took up the bow and was taking it to Odysseus, but the suitors clamored at him for all the parts of the cloisters, and one of them said, You idiot, where are you taking the bow to? Are you out of your wits? If Apollo and the other gods will grant our prayer, your own boarhounds shall get you into some quiet little place and worry you to death. Eurymaeus was frightened at the outcry they all raised, so he put the bow down and then there. Oh. But Telemachus shouted at him from the far side of the cloisters and threatened him, saying, Father Eurymaeus, bring the bow in on spite of them, or young as I am, I will pelt you with stones back to the country, for I am the better man of the two. I wish I was as much stronger than all those other suitors in the house as I am than you. I would soon send some of them off to kick sick and sorry, for they mean mischief. Thus he did speak, and all of them laughed heartily, which put him in a better humor than with Telemachus. So Eurymaeus brought the bow and placed it on the hands of Odysseus. I like how Eurymaeus is just like, I'm sorry, man, I don't know what to do. And Telemachus is like, you asshole, just give it to him already. Just having the time of her life watching it unfold, right? She's like, this is the warrior of the mind I was thinking of. When he had done this, he called Euryca apart and said to her, Euryclea, Telemachus says you are close to the close the doors of the women's apartments. If they hear any groaning or uproar of men fighting about the house, they are not to come about, but to keep quiet and stay where they are at their work. Euryclea did as she was told and closed the doors of the women's apartments. Meanwhile, Philoetius slipped quietly out and made fast the gates of the outer court. There was a ship's cable of bilberless fiber lying in the gatehouse, so he made the gates fast and with it, and then came in again, resuming the seat that he had left and keeping an eye on Odysseus, who had now got the bow in his hands and was turning it with every way about, improving it all over to see whether the worms that had been eating into its two horns during his absence. Then would one turns towards his neighbor, saying, "This is some tricky old bow fancier. Either he has got one like it at home, or he wants to make one. In such workmanlike style does the old vagabond handle it." Another said, I hope he may be no more successful than the other things than he is likely to be in stringing this bow." But Odysseus, when he had taken it up and examined it all over, strung it as easily as a skilled bard strings a new peg of his lyra. I think that's how you say it. Lyra? Yeah, I think lyra. Or is it lyra? Lyre. Yeah, exactly. Yo, he's got one at home, alright. Exactly. Oh, man. But Odysseus, when he had taken up and examined it all over, he strung it as easily as a skilled bard strings as a new peg of his lyra, and makes the twisted gut fast as at both ends. He then took it in his right hand to prove the string, and then sang it sweetly under his touch like a twittering of a swallow. The suitors were dismayed, and turned to color as they heard it. At that moment, moreover, Zeus thundered loudly as a sign, and the heart of Odysseus rejoiced as he heard the omen that the son of the scheming Saturn. Wait, what's Saturn in Greek again? The Greek. Hey Siri, what's Saturn in the Greek mythology?
Here's an answer from Wikipedia.
Okay, Cronus. Okay. Lie. Okay. He took an arrow that was laying upon the table, for those the Achaeans were so shortly about to taste were all inside the quiver. He laid it on the center piece of the bow, and drew the notch of the arrow in the string toward him, still seated on his seat. When he had taken aim, he let fly, and his arrow pierced every one of the handholds of the axes from the first onwards, till it had gone straight through them, and into the outer courtyard. Then he said to Telemachus, "Your guest has not disgraced you, Telemachus. I did not miss what I aimed at, and I was not long in stringing my bow. I am still strong, and not as the suitors twit me with being. Now, however, it is time for the Achaeans to prepare supper while there's still daylight, and then otherwise disport themselves with song and dance, which are the crowning ornaments of a banquet." As he spoke, he made a sign with his eyebrows, and Telemachus girded on his sword, grasped his spear, and stood armed beside his father's seat. Oh, God! They courted him now! They courted him now! They courted him now! Yeah, Kronos is the father of Zeus, yeah. Bastard, too. Oh, they courted him. They trapped him like animals! Oh man, here we go. Here we go. And that was the end of book 21. We got 3 more books to go until we finish the Odyssey. Or 3 chapters left. Do you think we can do it? I want to know how it goes. 762 minus. We're at 726 now. We got 36 pages left to go. We got this. Book 22. The killing of the suitors. The maids who have conducted themselves are made to cleanse the cloisters and then are hanged. Fuck. Oh no. Then Odysseus tore off his rags and sprang onto the broad pavement with his bow and his quiver full of arrows. He shed the arrows onto the ground and at his feet and said, "The mighty contest is at an end. I will now see whether Apollo will vouchsafe it to me to hit another mark which no man has yet hit." Oh, dude, he's like, I have had enough. On this, he aimed a deadly bow at Antinous, who was about to take up a 2-handled gold cup to drink his wine and nearly had it in his hands. He had no thought of death, who amongst of all the revelers who would think of that one man, however brave, would stand alone among so many to kill him. The arrow struck Antinous right in the throat, and the point went clean through his neck, so that he fell over and the cup dropped from his hand, while a thick stream of blood gushed from his nostrils. He kicked the table from him and upset the things on it, so that the bread and roasted meats were all soiled as they fell over to the ground. The suitors were in an uproar when they saw that a man had been hit. They sprang in dismay, one and all of them, from their seats and looked everywhere towards the walls. But there was neither nor shield nor spear, and they rebuked Odysseus very angrily. Okay. Stranger, said they, you shall pay for shooting people in this way. Bro just saw a guy, like, getting, like, shoot in the neck, and they're like, you shall pay for shooting people in this way. How dare you? It's like a Karen. That's illegal. You shall pay for shooting people in this way. You shall see no other contest. You are a doomed man. He whom you have slain was the foremost youth in Ithaca, and the vultures shall devour you for having killed him. Thus they spoke, and they thought he had killed Antinius by mistake, and did not perceive that death was hanging over the head of every one of them. But Odysseus glared at them and said, Dogs, did you think I should not come back from Troy? You have wasted my substance, have forced my women servants to lie with you, and wooed my wife while I was still living. You had feared neither God nor man, and now you shall die. Oh no. Where is he? Where is he? Keep your head down, he's aiming for the torches. My mercy is long since drowned. It died to bring me home. As long as you're around, my family's fate is left unknown. They turned pale with fear as he spoke, and every man looked about to see whether he might fly for safety, but Eurymachus alone spoke. If you are Odysseus, said he, then what you have said is just. We have done so much wrong in your lands and in your house, but Antinius was the head in front of the offering lies low already. It was his doing. It was not that he wanted to marry Penelope. He did not so much care about that he wanted something quite different. And Zeus has not vouchsafed it to him. He wanted to kill your son and be the chief man in Ithaca. Now therefore he has met the death which was his due. Spared the lives of your people. We will make everything good among ourselves and pay you in full for all we have eaten and drunk. Each one of us shall pay you a fine worth 20 oxen, and we'll keep giving you gold and bronze till your heart is softened. Until we have done, there is no one to complain of your being enraged against us. Odysseus, so literally, old king, our leader, is dead. You've destroyed the serpent's head. Now the rest of us are no longer a threat. Literally, that's where the line came. Odysseus again glared at him and said, though you should give me all that you have in the world, both now and all that you ever shall have, I will not stay my hand until I have paid all of you in full. You must fight or fly for your lives, and fly not a man of you shall. Their hearts sank as he heard him, but Eurymachus again spoke, saying, my friends, this man will give us no quarter. He will stand where he is and shoot us down till he has killed every man among us. Let us then show fight. Draw your swords and hold up the tables to shield you from his arrows. Let us have at him with a rush and drive him to the pavement in the doorway. We then can soon get through the town and raise such an alarm and shall soon stay his shooting. As he spoke, he drew the keen blade of bronze, sharpened on both sides, and with a loud cry sprang towards Odysseus. But Odysseus instantly shot an arrow to his breast and caught him by the nipple, and fixed itself in his liver. Ooh, ow. Fuck, rip him. He dropped his sword and fell doubled up over his table. The cup and all the meats went over on the ground, and as he smote the earth with his forehead in an agonies of death, he kicked the stool with his feet until his eyes were closed in darkness. Then Phineus drew his sword and made it straight at Odysseus to try and get him away from the door, but Telemachus was too quick for him and struck him from behind. The spear also caught him between the shoulders and went right through his chest, so that he fell heavily to the ground and struck the earth with his forehead. Ooh, ow. Then Telemachus ran away from him, leaving his spear still in the body, for he feared that he had stayed to draw it out, some of the Achaeans might come up and hack at him with his sword, or knock him down. So he set off at a run and immediately was at his father's side. He then said, "Father, let me bring you a shield, 2 spears, and a brass helmet for your temples. I will arm myself as well and bring other armor for the swineherd and for the stockmen, for we had better be armed." "Run and fetch them," answered Odysseus, "while my arrows hold out, or when I'm alone they may get me away from the door." Telemachus did as his father said and went off to the storeroom where the armor was kept. He chose 4 shields, 8 spears, and 4 brass helmets with horsehair plumes. He brought them with all speed to his father, and armed himself first. While the stockmen and the swineherd also put on their armor and took their places near Odysseus. Meanwhile, Odysseus, as long as his arrows lasted, has been shooting at the suitors one by one, and they fell thick on one another. When his arrows gave out, he set the bow to stand against the end wall of the house by the doorpost, and hung a shield 4 hides thick about his shoulders. On his comely head he set his helmet, well with the crest of horsehair that nodded menacingly above it, and he grasped 2 redoubtable bronze-shod spears. Now there was a trapdoor in the wall, while at the end of the pavement there was an exit leading to a narrow passage, and this exit was closed by a well-made door. Odysseus told Philoctetes to stand by this door and guard it, for only one person could attack it at a time. But Angelus shouted out, "Cannot someone go up to the trapdoor and tell the people what is going on? Help would come at once, and we should soon make an end of this man and his shooting." "This may not be an H. Claudius, or something. It's a weird fucking name. This may not be," Agellius answered Melanthius. "The mouth of the narrow passage is dangerously near the entrance to the outer court. One brave man could prevent any number from getting in. But I know what I would do. I'll bring you arms from the storeroom, for I am sure that it is there that Odysseus and his son have put them." On this, the goatherd Melanthius went back to passages to the storeroom of Odysseus' house. There he chose 12 shields with as many helmets and spears, and brought them as fast as he could to give them to the suitors. Ooh, this is getting pretty good. Yeah, Homer does not play whatsoever with this shit. Oof. Odysseus' heart began to fail him when he saw the suitors putting on their armor and brandishing their spears. He saw the greatness of the danger and said to Telemachus, Someone of the women inside is helping the suitors against us, or it may be Menethilius." Telemachus answered, "The fault, father, is mine, and mine only. I left the storeroom door open, and they have kept a sharper look out than I have. Go, Eurymaeus, put the door to and see whether it is one of the women who is doing this, or whether, as I suspect, is Menethilius, the son of Dolius." Thus they did converse. While Menethilius was again going to the storeroom to fetch more armor, but the swineherd saw him and said to Odysseus, who was beside him, "Odysseus, noble son of Latres, it is that scoundrel Menethilius that we just suspected, just as we suspected, who is going to the storeroom. Say I shall kill him, if I can get to the better him, or shall I bring him here that you make your own revenge by all the wrongs that he has done in your house?" Odysseus answered, "Telemachus and I will hold these suitors in check, no matter what they go. Go back, both of you, and bind Menethilius' hands and feet behind him. Throw him into the storeroom and make the door fast behind you. Then fasten a noose about his body and string him up close up to the rafters from a high-bearing post, that he may linger on in agony." Oh, shit! They were hanging him. They're hanging this bitch. He's like, "Just hang the Odie, what do you mean? Just do it." This bastard. Thus he did speak, and they did even as he had said. They went to the storeroom, which they entered before Menelaus saw them, for he was busy searching for arms in the innermost part of the room. So the two took their stand on either side of the door and waited. By and by Menelaus came out with a helmet in one hand and a dry-rotted shield in the other, which had been borne by Latres when he was young, but which had long been since thrown aside, and the straps had become unsewn. On this, the two seized him, dragged him back by the hair, and threw him struggling to the ground. They bent his hands and feet Thane well behind his back and bound them tight with a painful bond as Odysseus had told them. They then fastened a noose about his body and strung him up from a high pillar until he was close up to the rafters, and over to him did what you vaunt. Old swineherd Eurymaeus saying, Melanthius, you will pass the night on a soft bed as you deserve. You will know very well when the morning comes from the streams of Oceanus, and it is time for you to be driving in your own goats for the suitors to feast on. There, then, they left him in a very cruel bondage, and having them put on their armor, they closed the door behind them and went back to their places by the side of Odysseus, whereon the 4 men stood in the cloister, fierce and full of fury. Nevertheless, those who were in the body of the court were still both brave and many. Then Zeus's daughter Athena came up to them, having assumed the voice of the informed mentor. Odysseus was glad when he saw her and said, Mentor, lend me your help and forget not your old comrade, but nor the many good turns he has done you. Besides, you are my age mate. But all the time he felt sure it was Athena, and the suitors from the other side raised an uproar when they saw her. Agilius was the first to reproach her. Mentor, he cried, do not let Odysseus beguile you into siding with him and fighting the suitors. This is what we do. When we have killed these people, father and son, we will kill you too. You shall pay for it with your head. And when we have killed you, we'll make you take you all you have. We will take all you have, indoors and out, and bring it to the hodgepot with Odysseus' property, and will not let your sons live in your house, nor your daughters, nor shall your widow continue to live in the city of Ithaca. Fuck, that's one way to threaten a goddess. You dare do that? This made Athena still more furious, so she scolded Odysseus very angrily. Odysseus, said she, your strength and prowess are no longer what they were when you fought for 9 long years among the Trojans about the noble lady Helen. You killed many a man in those days, and it was through your strength that Priam's city was taken. How comes it that you are so lamentably less valiant now that you're on your own ground, face to face with the suitors in your own house? Come on, my good fellow, stand by my side and see how Mentor, son of Enclinius, shall fight your foes and requite your kindness conferred upon him. But she not have give him full victory as of yet, for she had wished still further to prove his own prowess and that of his brave son, so that she flew up to one of the rafters on the roof in the cloister and set upon it the form of a swallow. Meanwhile, Angelus, son of Damastor, Eunomunus, and Philmedon, and Demotolemus, Pisander, and Polybus, son of Polyctor, bore the brunt of the fights upon the suitors' side. All of who were still fighting for their lives, and they were by far the most valiant, and for the others that have already fallen under the arrows of Odysseus. Agilius shouted to them and said, My friends, he will soon have to be off, and the Formentor has gone away after having done nothing for him but brag. They are standing at the doors unsupported. Do not aim at him all at once, but 6 of you throw your spears first, and see if you cannot cover yourselves with glory by killing him. When he has fallen, we need not be uneasy about the others. They threw their spears as he bade them, but Athena made to them all no effect. One hit the doorpost, another went against the door. The pointed shaft of another struck the wall, and as soon as they avoided all the spears of the suitors, Odysseus said to his own men, My friends, I should say we are 2 had better yet let drive into the middle of them, or they will crown all the harm they have done us by killing us outright. They therefore aimed straight into front of them and threw their spears. Odysseus killed Demopolymus, Telemachus, Euryclades, Eurymaeus, Eclatus, while the stockmen killed Pisander. These all bit the dust. Another one bites the dust. I'm literally tripping over my tongue with these names. And all the others, as the others drew back to a corner, Odysseus and his men rushed forward and regained their spears by drawing them from the bodies of the dead. The suitors now aimed a second time, but then Athena made their weapons for the most part without effect. One hit a bearing post of the cloister, Another went against the door, while the pointed shaft of another struck the wall. Still, Amphimyon just took a piece of the top skin off from Telemachus's wrist, and Sidipetus managed to graze Eurymachus' shoulder above his shield, but the spear went on to fall to the ground. Then Odysseus and his men led drive into the crowd of suitors. Odysseus hit Eurydamas, Telemachus, Amphimyon, and Eurymaeus Polybus. After this, the stockman hit Sidipetus in the breast and taunted him, saying, "Foul-mouthed son of Polytheuses, do not be so foolish to talk wickedly another time, but let heaven direct your speech, for the gods are far stronger than men. I make you a present of this device to repay you for the foot which you gave Odysseus when he was begging about in his own house." That's quite a way to kill somebody, save someone before they're dying. Thus spoke the stockman, and Odysseus struck the son of Damastor with a spear in close fight, while Telemachus hit Leostritus and the son of Evenor in the belly, and the dart went clean through him, so that he fell forward full on his face upon the ground. Then Athena from her seat on the rafter held up her deadly Aegis, and the hearts of the suitors quailed. They fled to the other end of the court like a herd of cattle maddened by the gadfly in the early summer when the days are at their longest. And as eagle-beaked, crooked-taloned vultures from the mountains swoop down on the smaller birds that cower in flocks upon the ground and kill them, for they cannot either flight or fly, and lookers on enjoy the sport, even so did Odysseus and his men fall upon the suitors and smite them on every side. They made a horrible groaning as their brains were being battered in, and the ground seethed with their blood. Laertes then caught the knees of Odysseus and said, "Odysseus, I beseech you have mercy upon me and spare me. I never wronged any of the women in your house, either in word or deed, and I tried to stop the others. I saw them, but they would not listen, and now they are paying for their folly. I was their sacrificing priest, and if you kill me, I shall die without having done anything to deserve it, and shall have no thanks for all the good that I did." Odysseus sternly looked at him and answered, "If you were their sacrificing priest, you must have prayed many a time that it might be long before I got home again, and that you may marry my wife and have children by her. Therefore you shall die." With these words he picked up the sword and Anchialus had dropped when he was being killed, and which was lying upon the ground. Then he struck Laertes on the back of his neck so that his head fell rolling onto the dust when he was still yet speaking. Oh shit. The minstrel Priamus, the son of Terpes, who had been forced by the suitors to sing to them, now tried to save his life. He was standing towards the trapdoor and held his lyra in his hand. Is it lie or lyre? I keep getting... Yeah, I know, they even speak... even the face of death, they speak, like, eloquently, exactly. Lyra in his hand. He did not know whether to fly out of the cloister and sit down by the altar of Zeus that it was in the outer court, and on which both Laertes and Odysseus had offered up the thigh bones of many of an ox, or whether to go straight up to Odysseus and embrace his knees. But in the end he deemed it best to embrace Odysseus's knees. So he laid his lie on the ground between the mixing bowl and the silver-studded seat, and going up to Odysseus he caught hold of his knees and said, "Odysseus, I beseech to have mercy on me and spare me. I will be sorry for it afterwards if you kill a bard who can sing both for gods and men as I can. I make all of my lays myself, and heaven visits me in every kind of inspiration. I would sing to you as though you were a god. Do not therefore be in such a hurry to cut my head off. Your son Telemachus will tell you that I did not want to frequent your house and sing to the suitors after their meals, but they were too many and too strong for me, so they made me." Telemachus heard him and at once went up to his father. "Hold," he cried, "the man is guiltless. Do not do him no hurt, and we will spare Medon too, who was always good to me when I was a boy, unless Philoctetes or Eurymaeus had already killed him, or he has fallen your way when you were raging about the court." Medon caught these words of Telemachus, for he was crouching underneath the seat beneath, which he had hidden by covering himself up with a freshly flayed Heftir's hide. So he threw off the hide and went up to Telemachus and laid hold of his knees. "Here I am, dear sir," said he. Stay your hand before, and tell your father, or he will kill me in his rage against the suitors for having wasted his substance, and been so foolishly disrespectful to yourself." Odysseus smiled at him and answered, "Fear not, Telemachus has saved your life, that you may have known in the future and tell other people how greatly better good deeds prosper than evil ones. Go therefore outside the cloisters to the outer court, and be out of my way of the slaughter, you and the bard, while I finish my work here inside." The pair went to the outer court as fast as they could, and sat down by Zeus's great altar, looking fearfully around and still expecting that they would be killed. And then Odysseus searched the whole court carefully over to see if anyone had managed to hide themselves and was still living, but he found them all laying in the dust and weltering in their blood. They were like fishes which fishermen had netted out of the sea and thrown upon the beach to lie gasping for water until the heat of the sun makes an end of them. Even so they were the suitors lying all huddled up against one another. Then Odysseus said to Telemachus, "Call nurse Euryclea, I have something to say to her." Telemachus went and knocked at the door of the women's room. "Make haste," said he. "You old woman who have been set over to the other woman in the house, come inside, my father wishes to speak to you." I'm dying. Yeah, I need quick water. I need to do that. I say this if there's a visual of water right in front of me. You know, given that there's a book that... Sorry, I'm like talking about Storm Mode again. But given that there's a... given that Lucas reads like headcanon, I feel like he would read nonstop and he would just be like... You'd just be dying. Okay, a couple of pages left until we finish book 22, and then we'll be... then what? How much do we have left after that? The connections are uncanny. Yeah, I know. For real. Okay, after this book, we got 23 pages left. We got this. We can still go. We can still go! But the Lucas headcanon, I headcanon, he's just like, he loves it so much, he just rambles about it, and then he just like, he needs like a water, and his voice just goes away. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, I know, that headcanon would be really funny. He doesn't really speak, he's in a group, he doesn't really speak for himself, but he's a yapper. I can totally see him being a yapper, for sure. You should, yeah, 23 pages is fine, I'll keep going. I'm close to the end anyway, so why not push through and, you know? When Euryclea heard this, she unfastened the door of the women's room and came out, following Telemachus. She found Odysseus among the corpses, bespattered on with blood and filth like a lion that had just been devouring an ox. And his breast and both his cheeks are all bloody, so that he's a fearful sight. Even so was Odysseus, besmirched from the head to foot with gore. When she saw all the corpses in such a quantity of blood, she was beginning to cry out for joy, for she saw what a great deed had been done. But Odysseus checked her. "Old woman," said he, "rejoice in silence, restrain yourself, and do not make any noise about it. It is an unholy thing to vaunt over dead men. Heaven's doom and their own evil deeds have brought these men to destruction, for they respected no man in the whole world, neither the rich or poor, who came near them and have had come to a bad end as a punishment for their wickedness and folly. Now, however, tell me which of the women in the house have misconducted themselves and who are innocent. I'll tell you the truth, my son, answered Euryclea. There are 50 women in the house whom we teach to do things such as cardining wool and all kinds of household work. Of these, 12 in all have been misbehaved and have been wanting in respect to me and also to Penelope. They showed no disrespect to Telemachus, for he has only lately grown and his mother never permitted him to give orders to the female servants. But let me go upstairs and tell your wife what has happened, for some god had been sending her to sleep. Do not wake her yet, answered Odysseus, but tell the women who had misconducted themselves come to me. Euryclea left the cloister to tell the women and make them come to Odysseus. In the meantime he called Telemachus, the stockman and the swineherd. Begin, said he, to remove the dead and make the women help you. Then get sponges and clean the water to swell down the tables and seats. When you have thoroughly cleansed the whole cloisters, take the women into the space between the doomed room and the wall of the outer court, and wrung them through your swords until they are quite dead, and have forgotten all about love and the way in which they used to lie in secret with the suitors. On this, the women came down in a body weeping and wailing bitterly. First they carried the dead bodies out and propped them up against one another in the gatehouse. Odysseus ordered them about and make them do their work quickly, not properly, so they had to carry the bodies out. Wait, no. Whoops, I skipped a line. They carry the bodies out. Never mind, I thought I didn't. For a sec. When they had done this, they cleaned all the tables and seats with sponges and water, while Telemachus and the 2 others shoveled up the blood and dirt from the ground. And the women carried all the way and put it out of doors. Then when they had made the whole place quite clean and orderly, they took the women out and hemmed them in the narrow space between the wall of a doomed room, that of the yard, so that they could not get away. And Telemachus said to the other 2, I shall not let these women die in a clean death, for they were insolent to me and my mother, and used to sleep with the suitors. So saying, he made a ship's cable fast to one of the bearing posts had supported the roof in the doomed room, and secured her all around the building at a good height, lest if any of the woman's feet should touch the ground, and as thrushes or doves beat against the net that has been set for them in the thicket just as they were getting to their nest, and a terrible fate awaits them. Even so the women did have to put their heads in nooses, one after another, and die almost miserably. Oof! Their feet moved convulsively for a while, but not for very long. As for Menethaius, they took him through the cloister into the inner court. They cut off his nose and his ears, and they drew out his vitals and gave him to the dogs raw. And then in their fury, they cut off his hands and feet. Jesus Christ! Holy fuck! Whew! No! Oh no! Oh gosh! I forgot how this is Greek mythology. They're gonna go crazy, violent. Holy crap! When they had done this, they had washed their hands and feet, and went back into the house, for now it was all over. And Odysseus said to the dear old nurse Euryclea, Bring me sulfur, which cleanses all pollution, and fetch fire, that I also may burn it, and purify the cloisters. Go, moreover, and tell Penelope to come here with her attendants, and so all the maidservants that are in the house. All that you have said is true, answered Euryclea, but let me bring you some clean clothes, a shirt and a cloak. Do not keep these rags on your back any longer. It's not right. She's like, you're a king, bro. Get some good clothes on. First light me a fire, replied Odysseus. She brought the fire and the sulfur, and had hidden bidden her, and Odysseus thoroughly purified the cloisters and both the inner and the outer courts. Then she went inside to call the women and tell them what what had happened. When they came from their apartment with torches in their hands and pressed around Odysseus to embrace him, kissing his head and shoulders and taking hold of his hands. It made him feel as if he were should like to weep, for he remembered every one of them. What a way to end the little chapter. Okay. Water break time. 2 books left, 2 chapters left. Can we do it? Or should I save my voice for my sake? I mean, my voice is dying. My voice is starting to give out. I think it should be. I think I should stop. Oh man. Yeah, that's what I just did. I did stretch. Looking at Yeah, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop for my sake. I'm sorry, Magmi. I'm really sorry if they like watch me torture myself. It's just not ideal, but we got to the suitors part at least, which is great. Ugh. Saturday is gonna be busy, so the best time I think I can read this is tomorrow, on the 7th. Yeah, maybe I should not have my voice die. But yeah, wow, would you look at that? We got to the suitors part. Ugh. I need to get like a brownie or something. I made brownies. I need to go eat one. Oh, man. When the rest is prep for Friday. Yeah, exactly, because yeah, the whole thing with the graduation, yeah, we're gonna be like, yeah, like moving and stuff. It's gonna be crazy. But I'm almost done with the Odyssey. Look at that. I know it's not as long as it's not as long as the last stream was, but I go eat the brownie. Yeah. Because I would have definitely cut, but given the fact my voice is about to give out, I can only get to so when we get back on here, we're gonna read from 23 to 24, and I think we'll be done with the Odyssey. I would love to also do another stream where we could talk about my AUs more, or something like that, because I know that that would be kind of fun. Dude, stream link doesn't matter. I know. Yeah, I definitely need to. I definitely. Yeah, I'm gonna go get a brownie, but I'm excited to see where we go with this. But I really love to read books now. But we definitely want to do AU stream. I would love to like do a stream where I just don't know which one to talk about, because I did cover stuff somewhat broadly, but not like the nitty-gritty details. Nitty-gritty details as much. I should stop. But like, do you guys have like any suggestions that, or like questions you guys want to see in terms of AU stuff? I feel like I'm sorry, I'm like grabbing straws, but I want to make sure that, you know, like I have you guys, your interests at heart, to say the least. Pick 3 to 5 AUs, set a timer, and talk about each one for a set amount of time. There's a lot. It's hard to pick. Anything and everything with your AUs. No, thanks. Yeah, I'll figure that out. It might be after the whole graduation debacle. It might be when I get home, when all that shit's dealt with and everything's settled there. Because this week has been just waiting for the just waiting for like, you know, finals week to be over, then commencement happens on the 8th, and I'm just like, but I would love to. I'm sorry, I want to hear all about them. They just sound so cool. I know. It's the stuff I put out there, like, it's really sad though, because most of these stories I talk about are very old. Like, like Radical Decade has been around since 2018, and I barely put shit out for it, but it's true. That's how long the idea has been around for. It's been literally been around when I was like 13. It was before I even went to high school myself. And then now I'm finishing college. I'm like, oh, I need to refine the sequel a little bit, but yeah, but I have to graduate. I have to graduate first before I get into the fun stuff because, you know, but update on that Top Gun-ish AU that I'm doing with story mode. That is going fine still. I gotta cut up more scenes for that, currently. How many scenes do I got left for that? One quick second. I'm putting a second monitor up. Just for my, just for my sake. Let's see. Let's see here really quick. Okay, that's fine. I'm keeping this on here. What was the... Oh, right, I was gonna check, Skybound really quickly. That's the wrong folder. I clicked the wrong ass folder. This is meant to be the, like, a little fun thing to do with an, Skybound, which is a Top Gun, that's what it's called, it's the Top Gun AU. Basically, commemorating the 40th anniversary of Top Gun, which is one of my favorite films. Currently right now, I'm up to scene 13. I'm on 13.5. Anything to do with the point scenes were added later because I had to, like, you know, revise a few things. Like, I want to make sure that there's extra scenes I needed. And there's 26 stuff to cut in total, and I have to sound edit all of those by the 16th. Or, like, part one of it, at least, you know. But again, no rush to get it done. I mean, I get it done when I get it done, and then I have to get editing on the next part of the story mode documentary, which is the episode 6 stuff. Yeah, this Skybound's gonna be fun though, right? And then I gotta do Outbreak. I have it cut. I'm currently in the process of doing that, but I just haven't gotten around. I didn't get my friend Gabriel's lines yet because he voices Radar. So I'm kind of waiting more variety on those, so I can know what I'm working with. But yeah, I know Outbreak's been taking a long ass time to get to me, but given the circumstances of what's been going on with school and all that fun jazz, you know, you've been delayed, you know? But I'm waiting for the day until, like, you know, Radical Decade and Shifted Decade get their frickin' audio adaptation. I'm gonna love doing that one so much. It's gonna be so much fun. It's just, I have to write more of it. I know I'm close. Like, I'm figuring it out. It's just that... Yeah, I should stop. Thanks, Magby. My mind's going all crazy. Ugh. I should stop. I'm gonna sign off. I should leave this for another time. But I hope you guys have a good night. Let me get through graduation first, and I'll figure out everything from there. Um, so that's where it's at. Yeah, I need to sleep. I know that I'm gonna have like a mini anxiety attack before going up on stage. You know what's gonna happen. But by all means, it's gonna be fine. Um, by all means, yeah, good night. I'm gonna go now. Good night.